The initialize calls rebuild, binds all the events and all that stuff. I'm kind of mulling it over. It's like, well, should the initialize just be inside of begin play or something? Or probably. Let's actually also grab the animation controller component here, and we're going to call initialize on it. So let's see if this works at all. Well, it's almost working. Movable light shadow casting disabled. Lighting needs to be rebuilt. Alright, so the player logic object, we've got a point light on this thing. Is this point light movable? Yeah, it's movable. So what's wrong with this point light? Like, I want like a gigantic attenuation radius. I want to really see this thing do what it should. Like, I want to see this point light just really do what it should. Okay. It's obviously a little bit too bright. So let's take a look at what these materials have got on them. We got these log sprites, which have this sort of stuff on them. Let's go to the actual blueprint for the log, and let's change what we've got here. We've got the Dashkin masked lit sprite, and the same thing for the object behind it. what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to our object here. We're gonna go to our event graph, and I think basically we want to do on our tick event. We're gonna want to we're gonna get the point light, and we're gonna want to call set. And is there intensity? Child actor component reference. All right, so we need like get component. Get component by class. No, we want just light component. What do we want? Is there like a point light component? Child actor component reference. Oh, Jesus Christ. So there's like get actor. Is there like child actor component here? Child actor component. Oh my god, there's set child actor class? Right. What did it have here? It had like get class? This is just really funny. It's like I can't get the I've got the point light, but I can't get the damned object that's behind it. Is there a child actor component.h? Child actor component. Get child actor class, set child actor class. Blueprint read only child actor. So is there just like alright, like the sensitive, the search for this stuff is just awful. Like you know exactly what you want to do, and you just can't frickin' find exactly what is necessary. So what is the intensity right now? It's set to like 5,000. And what we're wanting to do here is you are not forced to use blueprints in Unreal, but if you can set stuff up in blueprints, it's a lot easier to iterate on your content. So, because you don't have to compile and you try to make stuff super easy for blueprints and use it like you would a scripting system like Lua or whatever, just to nicely separate stuff. At least that's the idea that I have. Alright, this is adjust light. So I've got this like get percent finished function, so I'm gonna like try to let's see, I want to subtract. I'm gonna do 1.0 minus that, and then I want to do a multiply by 5,000. So this should go from 1 to 0. So what this should do is basically the radius should get wider and the yeah, let's actually have an add in here. Let's do kind of a 1200 plus this, yeah. Do it kind of like this. So it'd be like, it'll go from 1200 to 2400 over the course of the animation, and will go from 5,000 intensity to 0 intensity. So it'll get bigger and get dimmer as it goes along. Let's see if that works. Yeah, kind of like that. So yeah, that's kind of how easy it is to mess around with blueprints and quickly get something, you know, that, you know, it's just, there you go. There's an explosion and a light and all this stuff like that. Peeping, shadowed, movable light, shadow casting disabled. Let me just Google that real quick. What is it trying to tell me? See what that thing says. Let's see if that comes up even if we don't have an explosion. Is it the number of explosions? It's when we have like 3 or 4. Alright, well that's cool. Let's rebuild our lighting though and see what that looks like. Oh man, Karakan Draco is now hosting me. Thank you, Karakan. Though I guess she's not in the room, but she might be. So let's see if the built lighting actually does anything for us here. Yeah, we're just messing around. We went ahead and made an effect here, this test explosion effect. We attached a light to it, the explosion flipbook. We told it to kill itself when it's finished. And then we actually went into our event graph and we said, like, when it starts, play a sound effect and set the duration of the animation. And then when it's updating, we have it so the light changes based on some values. So like we get how the percent finished it is, and we make the light dimmer as it goes out, and we make the light larger as it plays. And it makes a sound, yes. So stuff like that. Let's see, why is this thing all sorts of messed up? It's saying like lighting needs to be rebuilt when I don't understand why. As soon as we spawn that point light, it's like lighting needs to be built. It's like, what? That's not really a problem. I don't know. Maybe I'll figure it out later. Don't need to figure it out right now. One thing I would like to do is see what happens if we move that log down. If we move that explosion inside the log. If we get shadows on it. We'll just we can cause explosions inside the log. Oh god. He's even got a little shadow there. For some of it. Obviously we've got some issues going on with our light maps, or something is going on there where we're not getting translucent. We're not getting the shadows for Bitey. Except in very certain circumstances. Yeah, the light bloom looks ridiculous. But that's kind of the effect that I'm looking for. And if we go into the log tunnel blueprint real quick. Like if we actually throw a mesh in here, like so if we add a static mesh here and we want We want to actually like throw it in here. I wonder if we can. I wonder if we can do some stuff here. Like if we can make it cast a shadow but not be visible, sort of thing. So I'll try it at first here and see if. I don't really see it doing too much. Yeah, it looks like if it's not visible, it never casts a shadow. Let's see. I made it super slow, so we'll just see exactly what we can do here. Okay, it's too many overlapping shadow movable lights. Shadow casting disabled. Okay. Spotlight 1, point light 1, light source. So it's getting angry that we have too many lights that cast shadows. So static mesh, I want visible, but I want it to where is the light actually? I'm just wondering why it's not casting a shadow. I guess it's it needs to cast a shadow if we're gonna have anything here do anything. What can we do about this? Let's make its duration like super long. So we can take a look at it. Because this object is movable, I guess. Point light's movable, movable. Maybe if I pause I can click on it and like view it. Point light with stationary mobility. Well, we want this point light to have maybe we need to change this to add a point light component. This is a point light component as opposed to a point light child actor. Okay, that's much better. Okay. Well, we're learning things. We want the get component by class. No, we can just tag this right in here. Just right there. The point light should be movable. The intensity is, well, it shouldn't matter. The begin play and adjust light stuff should work. But let's just set it to initial 600 with a, well, it's 5,000 with a 600 attenuation, and the inverse square fall off is off, and translucent shadows and cast shadows. Cast static shadows. So let's see if this thing will stop complaining then. So if we go down to our test explosion, why don't we move it to like yeah, if we do it like this, then he's lit when he's inside of it, and he's not lit above it because it's in shadow. Cool, that's exactly what we wanted. So we can have like a light inside of a tunnel, and it'll only affect things inside of the tunnel. Awesome, that's how you do it. But of course, if I put too many overlapping shadow movable lights, it'll break. So let's see. We have to go and make this like a -10. So now it's in front of the object. Cool. Alright, so that's kind of what we're looking at for lighting, is we'll be able to have stuff like that. And unless we throw like a whole bunch of lights right next to each other, with our shadows, as long as we'll have a budget of like how many lights are that we can have in a scene and everything like that, so we can kind of figure it out. Excellent. That's looking pretty cool. Right. I am going to, I believe, take a short break and eat some food and all that. I'm also gonna check all this stuff in because we got what we wanted done with the materials. And then what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna need to design a system for fixing the Z fighting on objects. So I'm going to check all this stuff in. This is going to be eng, fixing all the materials and reorganizing effects, creating new log tunnel and explosion effects, which respect lighting. So we did some pretty cool stuff there. Set up the lighting on all the things, messed around with it, learned a bit more about how to create the effects and play around with stuff. And the next thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to figure out exactly what we want for our Z fighting system, because basically like sprites need to draw in front or behind each other consistently. Otherwise, you know, if they're in the same Z-axis or whatever, they will fight and not render properly, and that's an issue. So we need to figure out a way to make sure that the drawing order is proper for all of our objects in our scenes. It's basically everything with a paper 2D component and everything else. I'll need to think about it, and the first thing we have to do is design it. And that could take a little while. So I'm gonna go break, get some food and all that, and I will be back. So it might be a few minutes. We'll see. So I will be back in a bit. Alright, we're gonna get back in just a minute here. Oh man. Well then. So, we need to come up with a way for us to organize our two-dimensional objects so that they don't fight with each other and all that sort of thing. So how exactly are we going to do this? I'm definitely going to have to think about what needs to happen. So the issue is, when two objects are right next to each other, they're going to fight with each other. And we need a system that will work for... Well, we'd like it to work on... Let me just get two objects real quick that will fight, and we'll just... So let's go to these things, let's make sure they're using the correct thing. So Dashkin, mask, lit sprite,